Hey, look, everybody, it's Lou Canellis in his crib. If for some reason Michael Jordan is always looking over your shoulder.
He always is, isn't he? There he is again.
So, Lou, there's so much going on in your world. First of all, let's just talk about what it's like being a dad. You're a father, proud papa. How's that changed your life?
Oh my God. Actually, Teddy Greenstein from the Tribune is here right now. We're doing a story on the birth of my daughter, who's going to be 2 years old, coming up on Mother's Day. And it's the greatest gift. Steve, in a million years, I never thought that I would love being a father as much as I do. I'll tell you a quick story. Monica, my wife, went about 5, 6 weeks ago to Atlanta to go see some girlfriends. I met my wife in Atlanta. She lived there for 12 years. She came back and I told her, I have some good news and bad news. And she goes, wow, bad news. Everything looks great. You were a terrific daddy mama for 3 days.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, the good news is everything looks great. Your daughter is still in one piece. The house is in one piece. I go, the bad news is I love being a dad so much and hanging with my daughter so much that I'm not going to keep working at this pace. I want to spend more time being a dad and being with my daughter.
I love that.
Sure enough, 2 weeks later, we get hit with the coronavirus. And
Wow.
Fox says, we're going to build a studio in your house, in your condo, in your spare bedroom,
Nice.
which is tougher doing the job every night on Fox, makes it
Yeah, yeah.
tougher. But it gives me the ability to say prayers with my daughter, brush her
Right.
teeth with her every night, and put her to bed and tuck her in. And I'm not able to do that because I work 5 nights a week at Fox, and the other 2 nights I'm working at my 2 restaurants that I opened up. So I feel blessed in a weird way. It's a silver lining what I'm going through right now
It
because
is.
I've used this time to the
Well,
you know, to the,
it,
to the greatest of my ability with my daughter.
it puts life in perspective for sure. Um,
For all of us.
Absolutely. And, speaking of being a restaurant entrepreneur, my dad was in the restaurant industry for over 20 years. I know it's not easy. Tell me how you got started and where this passion, this drive came from.
Well, all Greeks own restaurants,
That's
right?
right.
Restaurants are dry cleaners, and my dad owned a dry cleaners that I worked in for 20 years, so I wasn't going to go through life without owning a restaurant.
Of
Um,
course.
Through my travels with the Bulls and the Bears, I noticed everywhere around the world, uh, Greek food had been elevated, except for Chicago. Greek Islands does great, one of the finest restaurants in the city. But there's more to Greek food than Greek Islands or Psistedya in Lincoln, another fine restaurant. And after going to a few of these different restaurants in New
Right.
York, San
Right.
Francisco, LA, I said, wow, why don't we do something like that in Chicago? And I got
Right.
teamed up with a gentleman named Louis Alexakis, who owns Avlia Winnetka.
Hmm.
And we got along great, same age, same work ethic, same principles. And he is just the finest operator. I'm blessed to have him. And we created Avlia in Lincoln Park. And Avlia in Lincoln Park, after a year, just blew away our projections. And we said, let's give it a shot in River North. So we opened up on the corner of Wells and Huron.
I
We've
love
only
it.
been open 3 months there, and then coronavirus hit. And obviously, all restaurateurs are having a tough time now, not
Yes.
being open and working on carry-out delivery only. But we'll get through it. I had a great conversation with Rich Melman, Steve, a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah.
And Rich really believes in the spirit, the restaurant community. And while we all may be competing for the same diner, we all work together to make sure we all stay alive because the dining scene in Chicago is as great as any around the world.
I totally agree with you. And congratulations on your success. I know we're going to get through this. I know that RJ Grunt's my all-time favorite lunch spot, man.
The
So,
first, man,
yeah, big
Little
fan.
Salad
And
Bar, the best.
yeah, I think they were the creator of the salad bar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um, but with Michael Jordan looking over your shoulder, there's something fantastic this Sunday on ESPN, The Last Dance. How long have you been waiting for this documentary to come out?
I didn't think it would ever come out because there was so much that happened behind the scenes that I didn't think anyone ever wanted talked about um, within the Bulls family. And I guess as years go by, MJ specifically decided, why not? Let
Right.
people in that world. And I can tell you that personally, selfishly, I love that NBC Sports Network for the last month has run the playoff games of that 96
Oh
team
yeah.
that won 72 games in the fourth championship, because it's given me a chance to look back, and it's given my wife a chance to see me in action because she didn't know me back when I was doing the Bulls. And
Yes.
we're able to DVR those games now. So when my daughter's old enough to realize what she's watching other than Blippy, I'll show her what Dad used to do back in the 90s. I'm so jacked about this Sunday and the next few Sundays to watch the 10 doc series, because there's a lot that we're going to see that I never saw. Because,
Sure.
that's their domain, that locker room.
Yep.
I was lucky on the road to be invited into some of those practices and shoot-arounds by Phil Jackson, but most of the time I wasn't. And that's some of the footage that I'm looking forward to seeing. The real competitive fire in MJ coming out with his teammates.
Yes. So as a young reporter, here you are interviewing the greatest basketball player of all time. There's no argument, by the way, on that, of all time. What was that like? I mean, right there, you're seeing him at the peak of his career, the pinnacle of his success during the Bulls run. Night after night, Lou Canellis, you became MJ's best friend.
Overwhelming.
Yes.
Well, Ahmad Rashad was his best friend. I hope I was in the top 5 when it came to reporters.
I think
I was blessed, man. Right place, right time, Steve. I mean, you used to be in the business, and, I believe that luck plays such a huge role in our lives. We create our own luck, and I think my work ethic created my own luck, and I just happened to be around the Bulls when they turned into the greatest team ever with the greatest player ever, and I was part of the most memorable season ever. And the Sports Channel hierarchy at that time, which was Jim Corno Sr. and Mike Bogad, who at that time was in charge of programming, Tom Dord, Johnny Red Kerr, Jim Angio, all decided that they were going to have Lou do the British Open or British Airways Minute with MJ after the games. And I was actually blown away when I was told I was going to do it. I thought Red was going to be the guy to do it. And then as it went on, I was just so lucky. I mean, I remember sitting on the plane one night. We were flying back from a road game because I travel with the team as well. And I remember thinking to myself, I was looking at Dennis Rodman. I sat in the middle part of the plane where the food was and the drinks, and I sat there. Bill Wennington sat there. The director from WGN, Arnie Harris. Right, Arnie Harris was there. Tom Smithberg, who was a PR guy. Dennis sometimes would sit there, Jack Haley. And I remember thinking and looking at Dennis and saying, God, please stop time.
Right.
Any way you can stop the clock so this can never end.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how lucky I was.
Yeah.
I knew how fortunate I was.
Absolutely.
And I didn't want it to end. I wanted it to keep going forever. And so, when I see MJ on Good Morning America like I did yesterday, or I see Ron Harper when he comes to town for the NBA All-Star Game in February, or I see Scotty floating around the United Center, or Dennis, I think about those old days, and I think, man, I was so lucky. So lucky.
You were, no doubt. But what a career. And Lou, they always say that, the good guys never finish first. But I'm so proud of you, honestly, because I remember how hard you worked when you were doing ESPN radio and how hard you worked at CLTV. And it just prepared you for all the success you've had. And you're a Chicago guy. I mean, it's a great story. So I just want to say
you're too kind. You're too kind. I appreciate it. I have my dad and my mom to thank because they're the ones that instilled the work ethic. Working in my dad's dry cleaners for 22 years, scrubbing floors at 69th and Western, and realizing that no job was, going to be easy. And then you get into a career that you were part of. And in this business, man, if you're not willing to do a lot more than you're going to be paid for, get out of it.
That's right.
Because you won't make it. And like I said, I believe that luck follows you when you create your own breaks.
I agree. Preparation. They say that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I think everything you did in life, the work ethic, your parents' dry cleaner, everything you did at CLTV, and just happy for you, man. And you're a dad, and you got restaurateur. And as soon as things get back to normal,
Will you please come?
Of course. Are you
You like
kidding?
Greek food, right?
I love Greek food. Are you kidding? My first girlfriend, her last name was Pappas. How could I not love Greek food?
We got the best gyros you'll ever have.
Oh my gosh, my dad used to mispronounce it and call it gyros, and that's okay. But yeah, we love gyros. We love Greek food. Lou Canellis, thanks for joining me. Continued success. We'll be watching the Last Dance, and we're looking for you on the sidelines.
Love you, Steve. Thanks for checking in, man.
You too, Lou. Take care.